Good afternoon, good day. Aki Ami, the Success Scholar here. Thank you for tuning in to Holla at the Success Scholar. I have a good show coming up here for you all right now. I have my brother and sister in the building, but we're going to go to a video here right now to show you all exactly what we're going to be discussing today.
Person has 10 seconds between blinks.
Having someone love you unconditionally, it's amazing.
And this is Miss Jordan. She's a new teacher-student counselor.
Everyone can't have that fairy tale.
I do it because I love you.
You may not get it, but I do. My husband loves me.
See, I need pointers.
How about happy wife, happy life? I got it. Overprotective husband.
You're wrong. I just hope that you don't end up dead wrong.
I bust my ass to make sure you have the things you need, and you don't appreciate any of that.
You fought half the battle for him already.
You could have done something,
You have to go help her.
but you didn't.
It's only a blink away.
So that's the first video, and let me go to this second one here. That was Blink, and we're going to get into a discussion around that, as well as this video that we're going to share with you all, so you can check it out. And
I was a good boy, man. You know what I'm saying? I was a good boy. I listened. You know what I'm saying? Smart dose. I did everything right, man. But after he did that, it changed my life, man. I blame my mama, like, for him.
I'm curious about who tells the narrative, and how often have you told that narrative to yourself and rehearsed it to yourself over and over and over again? What risk are you willing to take to tell yourself a different story?
Hi, this is Darren DeWitt Henson, actor, author, speaker, and welcome to No More Chains. It's time for change. This is where you'll be able to release, let go, and unfold anything that doesn't represent your end result. It's time for change. You can do it today, right now, with us. There's so much in this documentary that's going to assist you so you can help yourself. Don't you think it's time? I do. Let's do it together.
All right. Now, so we got all those commercials out of the way, but definitely it's an honor and pleasure to be here, be back in the studio. I missed last week. I was up in New York and at the Apollo Theater. Congratulations, shout out to Miss Katura Love, who won at the Apollo Theater. So that was a wonderful, wonderful reason for me to go up to New York. So definitely a pleasure, and hopefully we'll get her in. Katura Love, if I didn't say her name right. But what you just saw is No More Chains 2, and that will be screened here in Largo coming up on March the 21st. So tickets are still available at the Magic Dawson Theater, and none other than Isaiah Washington will be in town for that. I do have a small part, a small speaking part, but you know, so that's a good thing. But I have in the studio two amazing actor and actress, and they've been doing this thing for quite some time, and I've seen both of them perform actually. So, and so first to my farther left, from Baltimore, Maryland,
Absolutely.
Brother Ryan Pratcher Bay, and to my immediate left is Sister Dorrian Wilson. And so they've been doing this acting and actor acting for quite some time. They've been actors for quite some time, and I recently saw them in the, where's my little flight? Did it fall? Okay, I'll get it up. But
we got you. Raisin
in the Sun.
Teamwork.
Yeah, thank you. So it's great to see you all, and you know, for you to come down here from Baltimore, and you from Louisiana, now residing in Baltimore. So welcome to Charm City. We appreciate you blessing us with your presence and your talents and your skills. But so coming up from, so you born and raised in Baltimore, brother?
Yeah, West Baltimore.
West side,
yeah, indeed. Emerson Village, yeah.
You know what, Emerson Village? What part? Where?
On Augusta and Cranston, 800 block of Augusta.
Augusta, all right. I grew up like the 100 block of Allendale Street.
Okay, right down the street though. That's not far.
Yeah, man. So it's a blessing, man. So now you're urban arts major with a theater concentration at Coppin State. Shout out to Coppin State, one of our prestigious HBCUs. Yeah. So it's been a path for you, right? I mean, coming up. So what inspired you first and foremost to get into acting? Theater?
Originally, I had already been working as a professional vocalist and entertainer.
You sing?
Well, I'm an MC. I did. I've been performing professionally since I was about 17 or so.
Okay.
I've been all over the country. I've done South by Southwest. I've performed all up and down.
South by Southwest?
That's one of the largest music festivals in the United States. Currently going on now.
Really?
Sometimes it can amass as many as 300,000 people a day. It lasts for a week. There's a whole block that they section off in Austin, Texas, where there's just nonstop performances.
So it's in Austin?
Yeah, every level. I mean, the highest industry professionals and then people that are really just getting started.
Right.
So I did 6 shows there. I've been to Los Angeles. I've been all up and down the East Coast. But the transition into theater.
Yeah, so you are like rhymes.
I've done various forms of music. I've done some reggae stuff with some national artists. I did go-go for 2 years. I worked with at Southeast. I worked with Pure Elegance. I've worked with that was my home band. I worked with Backyard. Did some stuff with Backyard, EU, Rare. I've worked with everybody.
You would have loved Roland. He used to be in here. He would throw down with some go-go.
I love it. I was fortunate to work with Chuck Brown's manager for a little bit, so I've got to move around. But the introduction to theater came through the administrator of Urban Arts Department, Dr. Hyatt.
Yes, and shout out to Dr. Hyatt. Yes,
absolutely. And one of somebody in Baltimore, Chenier, close friend of mine.
Hip hop.
Yep.
Sister. She just came out with a book.
That's my girl. She did the poetry book. So she's a teacher at the high school that's located on Coppin's campus. And she invited me in to do a hip hop lecture class. I did it, and then she called me back for what she believed was the perfect role for me in a play.
Wow.
So I did. It was a hip hop satire courtroom drama.
What was the name of it?
It was called Suspects in America.
I saw you on that.
All right, so I did Suspects.
Okay.
And then they invited me back for an audition for scholarship for the Urban Arts Department, and it worked out.
Okay.
So now I'm falling in love with it.
Beautiful. So you did Suspects in America.
And then next was a Soldier's Play.
I saw that.
I played Captain Davenport in that.
So wait a minute, let me think. Captain Davenport. So what was that part?
Captain Davenport was the omniscient narrator and also the investigator for
right.
Okay.
All right. I remember.
The guy who played him in the film, is from Baltimore.
Oh, really?
The original version is from Baltimore.
Okay.
So I did Captain Davenport. Then I wrote and directed a play at Coppin called Harlem Song, highlighting the Harlem Renaissance.
Really?
Yeah, I did that. That was my first time ever doing that. And then I got cast as Joseph Osagai in Raisin in the Sun.
Yes. That was beautiful.
I loved it. And other experiences working with Dorrian.
Yes.
I ain't gonna get too much into it.
No, we gonna talk about that.
We'll get there.
Definitely talk about that. So Dorrian, you were at I think Louisiana State, and you're from Louisiana,
I'm from
correct?
Louisiana,
So share, just growing up, and I saw you back in high school. You were doing some things.
So I'm from this small town called Franklin, Louisiana. It has 10 square miles, maybe 2 stoplights, 1.5 stoplights. I don't know how you do a half stoplight, but it's a half stoplight. And I started theater there at my high school, at Franklin High School.
Okay.
Then I went on to Southern University first and got an opportunity to costume my first feature film. while at Southern University.
All right, what was that film?
It was called Normal Types.
Okay, Normal Types.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So then I went on to do Costume 3 films after that, and left school. Left school to work in the industry. So then after the 4 films, I went on to do costuming for concerts and Broadway shows and tours and that sort of thing.
Wow.
Then I moved to Spain for a bit.
Oh, really?
I worked for Norwegian Cruise Lines as a wardrobe supervisor.
Wow.
Did that.
Wow.
Then came back
Good
home.
networking there, huh?
Oh, it was wonderful. I met anybody you can think of.
Yeah, right.
In that time, just being in the industry.
Yeah.
So after that, I came home because my dad died unexpectedly. My mom got sick. I had to come home. So I said I had to come home.
Right.
So I came back and took a job teaching.
Okay.
And how I even ended up in Blink is I was sitting at my desk one day, and a friend that I had done some theater with previously called me up, and she was like, I know this director, and he's looking for somebody that looks like you. Do you mind if I give him? He's like, do you mind if I give him your information? I was like, well, of course.
Yeah.
And I didn't think much of it. He sent me over the script, and I looked through it. And it was a pretty significant role, and I was like, well, this will be fun to do. So I did it. Walked away from it after that. I was like, okay, that was fun. And so then 2 years later, he called back, and maybe a year and a half to 2 years later, he called back, and he's like, yeah, so the movie's going to go to theaters. And I'm like, what? He was like, no, it's going to go to the theaters, and we're going to have a premiere, and we're going to do all this stuff. Then that happened. And so once that was over with, I happened to randomly be teaching a theater workshop somewhere. And the lead actress in the film that you saw knows Dr. Hyatt.
Okay.
And she said that he was looking for people for a scholarship, or do you know anybody who's interested in theater who would like to come to Coppin? So I was teaching a student who said that all he wanted to ever do in life was do theater. So we went through the whole process to get him to Coppin for him to back out maybe 2 months out. And so while mending that bridge, I just blurted out, okay, he won't come, but would you take me instead? Because I had not finished.
Right.
And he did, and here we are.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, so Blink. So how was that release like? What was the theater release like, or was it medium, large scale release?
So it released in more than one place.
Okay.
More than one state, more than one city, that sort of thing. And
some people say 1,000 theaters, 3,000, or on what scale would you're not sure?
Yeah,
you just did the work.
Okay,
right.
Do the work. Just show up, do the work.
I don't know that.
But you got your IMDb from it, so that's
I don't know that any of that ever really mattered. The most important part of it for me was the process, was the work,
learning,
and the rest of it was the rest of it.
Right. That's a blessing. So,
So
Raisin and the Sun, both of you, you had prominent roles there. So what would you, so talk about your character that you
Well, my character was Joseph Asagai. He's a Yoruba man. He's from Nigeria, and Benitha, who was being played by Dorrian, was his love interest, or one of the men that is courting this beautiful woman in this play. And he often acts as some ways a mirror, in my opinion, acts as a mirror for Benitha. So in those times where she seems to be out of sorts in her thoughts, he gives her slight mention of things to kind of consider, even though he's still pursuing her rather aggressively at some points, not in a negative way. But I think that character has a special way of showing affection to this woman that I feel like is often misunderstood throughout the play. And the scope of her family, her ideas for the time that she's in are just controversial. Attempting to be a doctor in the late 50s, we're talking about 1959. There aren't many female doctors, especially black or African American, etc. So, I feel like that character got to bring a little bit of light to her thoughts in a way that exists outside of the context of that family environment. So that one individual relationship, I feel like, is very important throughout the play. And in the actual play itself, it gives an opportunity to change the energy, to change the dynamic a bit. Because it can be so serious at certain parts, and it provides an opportunity for me to change the atmosphere as an actor. So.
Yeah. So if you're your part in there.
I play Benita.
Right.
I am a woman on a mission. Time be damned, family situation be damned, personal issues be damned. I am going to be a doctor. I'm going to change the narrative. I'm going to break the cycle and do the thing that I want to do. And I think some of the dynamics that exist is that while Asagai supports her, he also has a very traditional view of women. And I'm sure he would be just as happy if she,
just laid around.
If she, had babies down somewhere.
Right. Yeah, there was some interesting dynamics with the whole, the Pan-African interactions and the discussion around African people. Many people don't. I mean, I'm from Baltimore. Originally, people they look at my name. I know you get it. Like,
I get it.
like, what's this name? So, but it's just really an interesting dynamic. I'm like, yes, don't we all come from Africa on some levels? But but also in the film, the other gentleman, you had two kind of relationships.
The other guy was George Murchison. And he was, I don't think any of the men in the show had a different idea about who women, what their purpose was, or who they should be, or who they should want to be, even. And George is all about you look great. And that's all anybody's going to be worried about. They're not concerned about what you think. They're not concerned about what your ideas are about the world. I just want somebody whom I can come home or take with me and dress up real pretty and walk around with.
That was an interesting part in there that I was just like, wow. The part where he said, you go to school to get grades, you read the books, and you pass for a job. It's not about thinking.
Not about thoughts. Not about thoughts.
And I'm just like, wow, is that?
He was kind of sprinkling some of that. I think there's some secret truths to some of the things. George has some themes in there.
I'm like, man, but that's what education means to some people. And it's like, me having some college and, trade schools and being independently astute, and studious about the world. It's like, people seriously just like going through the process, going through just like, I don't need to do anything. I just need to pass this test. I don't need to think about it.
I know, all work out.
This is for my values as well. So.
Well, when you monetize something like education.
Exactly, as we see in the news media.
Well, we have a challenge sometimes because Dorrian and I have found ourselves that we share some classes together. Really? And in having the HBCU, this is my first time doing this. In my maturity, my seasoning. Sometimes we have these disparities where, because of our experience in the world, we sometimes contribute some things to the conversation that may not have been brought up. So where in one case, you may have a person that is expressing how education can just be monetized, it's just A, B, C, and D, and we approach it with, hey, the scope of the world is much larger than whatever this idea is. So I think it's, you got to have some fundamental ideas, but you also got to be open and objective to some other things. So I'm happy to be in a space with somebody that kind of feels that way about most. She's as much a contrarian as I am.
Right, yeah. So I've been supporting Coppin's programs. I think you were there when I brought the pizza in. Like the first
that was really good.
I
just got a small speaking part. You clearly can blend in and do anything.
Right. Yeah. So it's really interesting to see a project come from starting and seeing people kind of gel together. A real, and this was the longest. Was this the longest for you? Like the longest.
For production?
So say in terms of a 3-hour production,
for the length of the show, yes, yes, it's definitely the long. It's definitely a long show. For Soldier's Play, I had much more dialogue. I was the lead. I was the main character. So I had way more dialogue, and then my character never left stage. I was much like Benita in that regard, or like Dorrian in that regard. But as far as a play of that style, that has so many themes and really personal moments or almost cinematic scenes in a way where you kind of spend time with the characters, not just individually, but they speak about their opinions, and there are all these hidden monologues, these little moments that people can take advantage of. I had never been in anything like that. This is my first time having that experience, where it's this one just large, never-ending production of just people expressing their black experience in 1959.
It was very educational. It was very educational thinking for me as well, just black men's struggles in the context of, you know, just providing.
And wanting more.
Right.
That's
right.
the key
Yeah.
for me. That was the key for me.
100%.
That was the key for me.
Yes, indeed. And, you know, I just kept sitting there thinking, like, man, I mean, you know, I'm seeing myself in some aspects, and I'm just like, you know, I want to just get up on stage and be like, brothers need to do this, and we need to do this.
I feel that.
Right.
So I mean, like, because that's just the energy coming out of me.
Yeah.
But so where do you all see yourself going? Well, a few things. Well, you just won this amazing opportunity for the Irene Raisin acting scholarship program.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
let me just give that. So what does it mean? How does it feel? Like you're the first from Coppin?
Ever. In the history of...
Now, have they been trying to get this for years? And so talk about that process, like, because people may want, you know, because Dr. Hyatt was like, get her on. Like, I mean, he sent me everything like, we gotta be ready for this. So I was like, all right.
Let me just preface this by saying I had no idea what this thing even was. I was coming from Louisiana. Again, I'm 35. I was far removed from the college setting and what went on in terms of theater festivals and college things. And so I came up to this, you know, starting over. And I did For Colored Girls in October.
Oh, really?
And I was the lady at Coppin.
That's the first time I worked with you.
Right.
I was the sound operator.
I was the sound operator.
Okay. I was the lady in purple. And after the show one night, they were like, "Oh, we have this Kennedy Center adjudicator. What is it?
Yeah, adjudicator. That's what
Kennedy Center adjudicator for the KCACTF, and he you know, wants to talk to us after the show." But because I had no idea about the gravity of this thing, I had no idea what it meant. I just wanted to go home. So I went and I did all the things that I was supposed to do, but that was I didn't know what any of it meant. So a couple days later, Dr. Hyatt sent me up to his office. He was like, "I have something on my door for you." And I was like, "Okay, I'll go up and get it." I didn't know what it was, and it was this nomination. I had been nominated to compete in the, it's called the Kennedy Center Acting
Theater.
Oh no, at Kennedy Center.
KCACTF.
Yeah, KCACTF. We'll Google it.
Okay.
But I was nominated, and what happens is for Region 2. So what happens is these adjudicators go to it's 8 states included in Region 2. So these adjudicators go and see all the shows that happen in these 8 states. And of it, they get a total of 125.
Correct. Teams of 2.
Teams of 2 to come and compete for this one scholarship or this one thing. So I chose Ryan as my partner.
You better.
And then spent too much fighting because I just was like, I don't want to do this. I don't know what it is. I don't want to do it.
So this was in January. So you knew about it
in October.
So y'all had 2 months to 3 months to prepare.
We should have.
Kind of.
Right.
We were supposed
to. Did you do a monologue?
I did 2 scenes and a monologue.
Two scenes. Okay. 2 scenes.
And so we got to this place, to New Jersey. We got to New Jersey.
Montclair, New Jersey.
City. Yeah. And we made it through the.
We made it through the first round, the preliminary round. And then a day later, we did the semifinals.
So take us through, what are they looking for? I mean, like, what were they?
Well, there was a series of judges. There was a panel of judges. Well, when we were performing, there's an audience that was pretty much more or less open to the public. And then there are judges sprinkled out, or what were they called? They didn't call them judges. They called them something else. But they were sprinkled in the crowd. and they just kind of watch, and they would take little notes. Responders.
Okay.
They would take little notes and things like that, and they would call you into a room, and you would sit with people who were also in the competition, and they'll give you notes about your performance, about aspects of your characterization, vocal things, just making sure that you understood the work or you communicated the work properly. So us, I'm just, if you don't
Go
mind.
for it.
The special thing about us is, is the ethnicity, is the nationality, is the race, is that part. And we were very true to ourselves.
Okay.
We went in this environment and didn't change. All our pieces were from black authors, black writers. They were black ideals. I'm sorry.
No, so y'all did like a scene from
for the first round we had to do a scene.
We did a scene from Too Heavy for Your Pocket, which was written by Jeray Holder, Jeray Brian Holder, and then the second piece I did from a show called Rashida Speaking.
It was a monologue.
It was a monologue from
Wonderful
Rashida Speaking,
monologue.
and the third scene we did was from Holiday Heart.
It was from Holiday
and
Heart.
I played Wanda.
And I played Holiday.
And then we made it through to the semifinal round.
Semifinals, yep. And it grew. I think the first time we did one scene in a monologue. And the second time we did 2 scenes in a monologue. And your monologue. And then the third time we just ran it all together. I mean, and there was only this window of 6 minutes where you have to do both scenes. You have to do a scene, monologue, and then scene. And we have to transition ourselves. There's nobody to guide you. And if you go over, you basically lose. So we correct. So we had to have a mental concept of our timing, of still standing character. We had one prop, I think, was a chair, but even that had to be cleared from the stage at a certain. It was all about the logistics of it all. And together as a pair, I would say not just given our experience, but given the connection we developed, it's easy to move around in that space to just because we can kind of see and know when it's time to move to the next thing. So that was definitely part of the process. But ultimately, we didn't get any much negative. Really, never got a negative word back.
Except for that last round before we went to the finals.
Yeah, that was. She was all stressing about it.
So what was that about?
So we.
Go ahead.
We went to we did the semifinal round. And we went to the area where the respondents were, and one of the responders was from the Hattie Lou Theater, Ekandayo Bandele. And he was immediately like, I want to do them. Let me tell them. And he was
definitely a brother.
Yeah, he was a brother.
He's definitely a brother.
But he saw us. He knew what we were doing. He knew our work, and the notes that he gave us helped us. So I could tell that he was, telling us what we needed to hear.
And it was cool to have someone who could not just empathize with us as actors, but really understood the work.
Identify.
Like really knew the themes that we were talking about, if I don't know if people know the work, but one is relationship. It was all relationship dynamics. But relationship dynamics and Rashida Speaking, it's that using the word Rashida to replace the word nigga in the context of these, people that are not black or not brown skin making these comments about these people. And he told us that we're not going to go into all the details, but be unapologetic about it. Really definitely be ourselves, but you could see he really knew what our aim was, what our goal was. And he crafted his response to make sure we understood, like, hey, if you're going to advance.
I mean, but he talked to us just like that in a room
like regular,
full of people.
yeah,
he was like,
it was just us. Like, you introduced us, you said brother and sister. It was like that. It was like that.
Wow. So we were sitting here, me on the inside. I'm like, you hate
me? Yeah. Like we didn't make it.
Let's go home now.
We didn't make it.
Like we're going to the car. We're going to get our stuff because I know we're not going to the finals. And sure enough, we made it through to the finals.
So how many people were y'all competing against?
125 originally. No, it was 125.
I saw something about 200.
Well, when you put them together, it's 250.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was 100. So the teams of 125 teams to 2, and then it dropped to 30 teams.
32,
wow. 32
36,
teams.
32.
Wow. Yeah, 32 or 36, and then it was 16. Yup, and we, just crushed them. That's pretty much it.
yeah. So I didn't see y'all. I saw the picture of y'all with Lee Michaels. So shout out to Lee Michaels.
Absolutely.
Good brother. That he got an interview with you all about this and other things about the film. I'm sorry, the Raisin and Son as well. So you have something coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, so
we're going to be at the Kennedy Center.
Right.
Big stage.
Yeah.
Kennedy Center.
We got it.
I'm going to try to come to that. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So what happens now, we're one of 8 in the nation.
In the nation. Right. Okay, one of 8. Oh, wow. This is going to be big.
Yeah.
We're
going to do what we're going to do.
So humble, well, I'll be excited for you.
Right. I handle the excitement in this team. Don't worry. I handle all the extracurricular stuff. It's me.
In the nation, yeah.
So Kennedy Center, and that's coming up in April, right?
April 15th through 20th.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is going to be the big stage, right? On some levels. So what are we training for? Or you don't want to reveal the secrets of the success? Or how do you feel? How you feel?
I don't want to say too much.
Okay. So, but what's gonna? So these 8 groups.
People.
So 8.
Yeah, teams.
8 teams. So, and they're gonna be from all over the
nation.
Country, right? The nation, and so is it the same format? Would you think the same?
We have 6
format?
minutes.
Yep,
6 minutes. Just one time 6 minutes, or and then it's gonna be different rounds, maybe.
No.
One shot.
One shot. 6 minutes.
Y'all got 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
The best
life or death
goes forward.
Yep.
So
do or die.
Oh man,
we got it. I'm not tripping. I'm not worried because I would just say that doing Raisin in the Sun gave us not just an opportunity to keep our connection fresh, but recognize I think the space that we have to move around between lines. There's a rhythm to not just theater, but the poetry and the way that it's written, and there's a certain timing to it. And I think we have as a pair, almost like 2 people that are dance partners. We have a good enough understanding of how those things move that we can find these just really beautiful moments to take advantage of. And, if y'all watching, that's what we bring in. That's what we bring in.
Oh, great. So, for people that's out here and, they wanting to know more about you all and what can happen with, we got a couple more minutes, so with this, people will be able to come first and foremost, or like there may be a cost.
No, you can.
I'm sure
it's free and open to the public.
It's free and open to the public.
Open to the public, and the performances will be on April 19th. The performance as well as the awards, where they
announce it.
Choose, don't do that. Okay. Choose the winner, where they choose the winner.
Manifestation.
So y'all start like the 15th.
Yeah, we'll be there all week.
We'll be there all week.
Okay, the 15th.
All week. Just conditioning. Same amount, and when we went to New Jersey, it was the same way. We just would stop.
So you going to be like rehearsing together, setting up, or a few times? And
you going to let the secret out?
No.
Yeah, we're like, there's this movie, you ever seen The Great White Hype? A long time ago it was a movie with, who was that? Not Damon Wayans, I think, and he was a boxer, and just before his championship fight against this white boxer.
No, I remember that.
Yeah. Okay. He was like eating donuts and ice cream and stuff like that. And then when the fight came and he found out it was serious, he beat the guy up. So we just have a means of, because of our experience and because of where we are in our journey, we can be very casual about our interactions, and it's enough to strengthen those moments. And that's what we focus our energy on. And then when it's time to work, we work.
Yeah.
We work.
Yeah. That's it.
Hired guns.
So,
we'll also be hosting the NATSA conference.
Yeah.
What is
you know what the acronym
is? So is that with down the colleges?
Yes.
Okay. So y'all gonna be hosting?
Yeah, we'll be.
Okay. I plan on sliding through.
Absolutely. It should be. I think it'll be at the Radisson Hotel.
Right.
The first week of April. Actually, the 2nd through the 5th, or 2nd through the 4th, ultimately.
3rd through the 6th.
Okay.
Well, registrations start on that first day, on that Monday. And then the first day of the festival starts that Tuesday. There'll be presentations from other colleges doing shows. We'll be doing workshops and things like that. And we are really looking to be major, just facilitators for people that are in this arts. And we kind of want to move them around and condition them to the atmosphere that they'll be in, because we're representing Coppin, and Coppin needs to be well represented.
So Coppin is the host.
Absolutely.
School.
And this is their second time hosting that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's phenomenal. We don't have the acronym here, but it's big. It's big.
Major.
It's definitely big. 20 colleges or something like that, or
I think so.
Something.
I think it's
HBCUs, if I'm not mistaken.
Primarily.
Primarily.
And I believe we're gonna have 5 performances doing that. Not us. But there will be 5. So there's things for people to come see and interact with if they're not familiar with the art.
Up in Baltimore.
Thank
some
you.
Of the younger
we
people
agree.
As well.
I concur.
Right. Well, we'll definitely talk to some of these people here. So what else is going to be coming up here for you all? I mean, we've done some theater work and right.
Midterms.
It's that time. I mean, did y'all midterms still going on, right?
Right now.
Yeah, right
today,
now. Right this second, actually.
It's
like when we leave here, that's what we're going to go do.
But we're old enough to be able to multitask. It's hard sometimes. You know, I have meltdowns at least 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah.
And then
we still get work.
Yeah, I get over it and I get going, or I take a nap and then I get up and I figure it out. So
there's still work to do. I mean, and again, we're fortunate in a way to be professionals, and outside of the realm of the collegiate experience. So we just have to be available. I mean, individually, not necessarily as a group, but if you want to get both of us. So there's always work to be done. And we're just staying available and looking good.
So being a non-traditional student doing this, are most of the young people? Well, I know Coppin is generally. I was just at a workshop and they were saying that Coppin generally has a lot of non-traditional students. I mean, my younger sister, she just graduated.
Awesome, congratulations.
My aunt, she just graduated. Doctorate at Coppin. Some years ago. So it's not where you start, it's where you end.
Absolutely.
I always say that, regardless of where you are in the path, you can always continue that process. But education and knowledge of self is a lifelong.
That's it. That's everything.
So that's one thing I always say.
So, I mean, we get an opportunity to work with we're never looking to influence. We just open perspectives. We just give them, some insight into a world they may not have stepped in, and on multiple levels, on the actual world off the campus of Coppin, and then in the entertainment perspective, where we can be like, hey, this is not going to go how you think it's going to go. People are not always going to talk to you the way you love, but just get through it, and then you'll learn how to be reciprocal in that. You'll learn how to filter through things and deliver it back to a person who may have said something that you didn't love, and they have to now digest that, and then so. I feel more, or I would say someone like Dr. Hyatt empowers me at least to in some ways be a big brother, in some ways be a make sure that I keep people in control.
Yes. So have y'all done anything at the Arena Players as well?
We don't have time to.
When?
Not
just yet.
Not that I don't want to, because I do definitely want to.
I'll claim
there.
it.
Yeah, but and even what happens just in the future depends on what happens in April.
Right. Yeah, that can be a big thing. I mean, have you all looked at who actually have gone through that process before? Or
I've done some. I don't necessarily look at the people that have gone through the process, which I maybe should check up on. But I look at what opportunities will be present. Who will be there? Who will be looking?
So there could be some big names.
Absolutely, like directors and casting agents.
This is my first time, so
I haven't been myself. Like,
well, we see you on that. We'll see you in April.
I said that I need to kind of look and see it. So
an opportunity. I mean, even for you. It's collective. It's one energy. We bringing that with us, and it's coming with us.
So can people clap for y'all like the Apollo and scream?
I would
we need to bring a bus.
No.
No buses.
No. We come to do the work.
We will bring the whole Emerson Village up there.
Yo, listen. We are so intense in our work though that we realistically cannot see you. Anyway.
I know, right?
We can't see you. Yeah. We can only feel each other, and then we have our meltdown after the fact.
Right.
So. And then we'll come out and say hello, and that's
and all the Emerson Village can meet us outside. They'll love you.
Right. right. Yeah. So no, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So we got the Kennedy Center. Anything else we can, share with the listening audience? Shout out to your family and friends and associates, your cast members anything you want to say about your cast members?
I want to talk about. No, I want to talk about.
Sure.
Just mainly my family and friends and the people who believe in me. I could not have done this by myself.
Right.
I have not done this by myself. I'm sure I am the fruition of a lot of prayers. And thank you for that.
So anybody?
I'm shouting out the whole West. No. What I'll express is that I'm grateful to find myself in the place that I'm in. Regardless of everything I've been through, not just growing up in Baltimore, but I've been, and in this life, I've been diagnosed with kidney failure. I was on dialysis for 6 years. I got a kidney transplant. I'm alive and healthy. I'm upbeat, good energy, and I'm happy to be in a position to extend that blessing beyond me to someone else, whether it's through theater or a conversation. And having someone like Dorrian allows me to expose myself, gives me the freedom to expose myself. So I just want people to be aware that the arts are extremely important, especially theater, because it sometimes gives us things to contemplate on a deeper level. We can use it as a mirror for our own experiences, and that's something that we just have to be adamant about exposing people to, especially children.
Right.
So I'm happy to be here.
Right. Well, thank you very much. I think we can we got the core of everything
hopefully
out there, but contact information, let's get some Twitter and IG
I'm
and
on
anything else.
Facebook and Instagram, and I'm terrible at both.
Okay.
So here we go, though. Facebook, it's Dorrian Wilson, Dorrian Wilson. And my Instagram is Nautical Figurine. So it's Nautical, NAUTICAL _.
What's an underscore?
Figurine.
What's an underscore? Ampersand.
FIGURINE. Nautical Figurine.
Right.
I am. You done? I'm Ryan Pratcher Bay on Facebook. That's PRATCHER-BEY. On Instagram, I'm Only the More, ONLYTHEMOOR. And I also have as a musician, you can find me on Facebook and everywhere as Only, capital ONLY. I'm the only one in Baltimore that, I'm the only person in the room, so it's not hard to.
You got a CD, brother?
Do I got a CD with me? No, not in 2019.
Okay.
But we can get you. We can send. I'll send you some
CDs?
People do. Listen, I'll give a. Here's my gem. I'm gonna give on that, and then I'm done.
Right. Yeah.
The mediums that we find music in affects the sound of the music. So my last album that I released was a hard copy, and I made more from that hard copy than I ever made from any digital music because I got to control the medium that the music was being issued through. Vinyl records right now sell on the low end can be $50 to $150 and can go as high as $1,000. So a CD, where it may seem obsolete in a certain way, you will never capture that sound like that on a different medium of music. You can't replicate the sound of a record on an MP3. It can sound a lot like it, but it's just not analog. So people do still sell CDs. Yeah, people still do sell CDs. Sean Price is selling cassettes, and he's, God bless the dead, is selling cassettes right now for $35. Cassettes. People don't have cassette players.
So what is it?
And he's dead. He said he's selling $35.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I still have a CD player on my laptop.
Good.
So
Good.
I saw you feeling around for it. I was like, okay.
So I'll buy a CD.
I'll get you one. If I got to ship it to you, I'll email you the link.
Or just hold it for him so you can give it to him at the Candy Center.
That's what it's
now you got to come.
I'm definitely
get your CD.
So take it on stage with me and make it a prop.
Right. So, all right, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. Time to wrap up here. It's been an honor and pleasure for both of you. Look forward to seeing you at the Kennedy Center. Anything else before that? Nothing before that? Nothing? No major? Yeah. No. The spring production. And but the other conference is just before that at the Radisson in Baltimore. So I'll certainly be.
It'll be our first week of April, I believe.
Yeah, first week of April. So definitely look forward to visiting and supporting that as well, and getting some partners involved assist with that. So,
absolutely.
So thank you very much. It's been a
you.
pleasure.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you both.
My
Appreciate you both.
Yes,
So
sir.
we are out. Thank you, producer, for having us here. And next week we hopefully will have Sister Katura Love on. We'll see about that. The winner of the Apollo Theater presentation from Baltimore. Awesome. I gotta send y'all. I sent you one. I might send you her her little tune, man. She blew it up.
I'm here for it.
It helped that we took a bus from
Baltimore. Bus. Hey, bring them with you.
That's what I'm saying.
I've been waiting.
Like,
open arms.
So at the beginning you said do the Apollo thing.
Bring no bus.
We don't want them black folks.
All the aunties. We need the black folks.
Focus, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just let me bring the.
They can't be like, no, don't go in there. They just gotta be under control.
So, all right, Mr. Producer, thank you, brother. Take us out, brother. Appreciate you all. Till next week.